So this has been coming up on social media on YouTube the past week or so. About YouTube videos and the unnecessary copyrights, strikes, and claims that have been coming down on pretty big YouTubers, not just small guys. So one of the bigger ones that came about was Doug Walker, who's a nostalgia critic, had a strike against one of his videos. And so you can make the claim that, okay, well, maybe Doug Walker's nostalgia critic videos isn't really towing the fair use line entirely, because a lot of times it is riffing and commentary, not just reviews. There is a lot of footage use, and that can be all well and good. But the fact of the matter is, I think it was something like 3 weeks where he had this strike, and he couldn't even really attest it correctly or try to talk to someone at Google/YouTube about it. Like, there was just no way to get in touch with a human.
That's insane.
And this is not a small channel. This is like 300, 400,000 people. And if that person can't get in touch with someone to contest it or work it out, then a smaller YouTuber couldn't either. And this has been happening more and more with people. And this goes back to the Fine Brothers themselves making false claims. But anyone can really make these claims, not just claims for the money, the content ID, which means the video stays up, but the money goes towards other entity, a lot of times falsely. Which happened to me somewhat recently using a music track that someone claimed it on a remix, which was totally bullshit.
Yeah.
I contested it, and they didn't even bother to try to come back because they realized they were in the wrong. But DMCA strikes that could be false, which totally screw up your channel in terms of monetization and not being able to have videos like more than 10 or 15 minutes, and those last 6 months by themselves, and 3, and you're totally gone. Your YouTube channel's wiped. But there have been channels that have been getting wiped out without notice. And so now this is getting more and more sort of steam with YouTubers saying, what the hell is going on? So this is why, first of all, this is why this exists like this to begin with. And it's a legality thing. YouTube and Google has to have a system like this in place, semi-automated, to keep the movie companies and music companies off their back and off their ass legally. If they did not have a system like this in place, you can have the movie companies and music companies suing them to say, well, you're just allowing a platform to exist where people can infringe on the copyrights of all our TV shows, all our movies, and all our music, and go after Google constantly for it. That's why Napster died. Napster was like, well, we just have a file sharing program. We're not sharing the files ourselves. No. That didn't stand up because they weren't doing anything at all. Nothing to try to even curb it even slightly, to show that in good faith they were trying to not have it be used illegally. YouTube has to, in good faith, have a system in place to show that we are not having a system solely in place for illegal use. That's why this system exists. That said, it's still bullshit, though, that there's absolutely no team that you can easily get involved with if something like this happens to you and a video gets taken down, that you could even contest it or have an arbiter come in and try to work it out.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing to me, and I didn't even know this was a case, but now I do. It's insane that there's no support team on call.
Yeah, I'm not saying Google you have to hire 1,000 people, but how about hiring 20 or 30 people to look at these cases as they come in?
So you can turn them over in a few days as opposed to a few weeks.
Sure. If something's totally bullshit, if you have a person on staff that can say, oh, yeah, this is totally bullshit, I'll look at it and get back to you, we'll have it resolved by tomorrow or a couple of days, at least you have some sort of recourse exists. Even if there's a backlog, there's some recourse. And it's not like Google can't afford it. Multi-billion-dollar company. Put a team of 30 people. You know what I mean? Have case managers. Have managers of them overseeing it, or have some sort of hotline number or something there in place that you can get in touch with. And someone like Doug Walker, he's on a network. I think he was on Polaris, I believe. Like, you're telling me even there they had no one that on a huge MSIN to get in touch with Google directly to help solve a problem like that. I'm not saying he was even right or wrong in this instance, but at least have someone to talk to work it out. And the problem, though, is that, Google's making so much money off of so many channels. It's not like they have an impetus to put something like that in place, but because you're pissing off big channels that are getting struck down, they come back the next day, and it's insanity. It's absolutely insane. It happened to I think it happened to Cinemassacre a couple years ago, where a bunch of false claims all filed in a row or community guideline claims got it taken down for about a day, got wiped off of YouTube before it got put back. Now usually they get put back fairly quickly, but the fact that they can be taken down that quickly is insane. So I don't see this being solved easily unless Google actually takes it seriously. Now, Grade A Under A, our pal Grade A, who's not Scottish, by the way, he did a video actually addressing this recently as good timing, and said to tweet at nicely. I think it's the president of YouTube, to sort of get attention, to sort of get some sort of something going that so they actually recognize this is happening. Because who knows, maybe the hires up at Google don't even know this is happening. Maybe it's so far below their attention that it never gets them the bureaucracy that's involved.
Sure, I mean,
but it has to be
at the top floor of the castle. Who knows what reaches?
Yeah.
You.
So I mean, unless people started leaving YouTube en masse because of this problem, it's not like it would affect the bottom line of what YouTube's bringing in. So we'll see how this develops in the future. I mean, I've been a victim of this at some small degree, so it is an issue. But other YouTubers, it's been a lot more serious, and it can be abused. The fact that the system can be abused, and there's no recourse, and there's no penalty for these false claims too, which is something Grade A brought up, is that there's no penalty. Like, there should be. You have to really think about, before I want to go through with this, either claim or copyright strike. Am I in the right, or is this blatant disregard for the rules? Am I just filing something to be an asshole or to be a nuisance? If that's the case, it should come back onto that person. There should be some sort of penalty in place. So until that happens, it can be abused unfortunately. And yeah, it's just something that YouTube has to figure out.